Started in 2015 with Until Dawn, Supermassive Games have been making horror games and creating their very own unique horror universe. While Until Dawn was, and still is, held in high regard, the team couldn't catch the same hype train with their other entries such as Man of Medan and The Little Hope. With their new game The Quarry, it is apparent that they've been aiming high and looks like they actually improved upon a lot of things. Hello everybody, my name is Herc and welcome to a new horror visuals video. Today I hope I will be able to help you decide if you should give a chance to The Quarry with a short and sweet review of the newly released narrative-driven interactive horror game. While the marketing material might have made you assume that the game took place in the 80s or 90s, it actually takes place in more recent times, maybe even today. I was shocked to see that, and I can say the same thing for my viewers from the time when I started streaming The Quarry. Seems like most people had the same misconception. The Quarry tells the story of 9 camp counselors. If you're like me and pretty alien to the whole summer camp idea, because I assume it's an American thing, I guess camp counselors are sort of like volunteer senior students that help younger students in the camp. They oversee them, help them, answer to their needs, all that stuff. It's the last day of this 2-month summer camp. The younger students have already been sent home, and now it's time for our counselors to pack up, leave, and go back to their lives in the city. But of course, events happen, and for a very specific reason, they have to stay in the camp for one more night. So, what are they gonna do in this one last night? Well, they're gonna have a campfire and party all night long, of course. But as you would expect, things take a quick turn and they realize they're being stalked in the woods. After pretty long sequences, drama, and transitions, we get to know all of the characters, the main location, the Hackett's Quarry, and we take a glimpse at what might be this potential threat is. It is mostly just classic teenager horror movie themes. If you're familiar with them, you can pretty much guess what kind of a story you're getting into. Now, our counselors have to survive until dawn, pun intended, and it is up to you to decide who lives and who dies. It is the standard Supermassive gameplay you should be familiar with by now, but still, let me quickly describe how it is in case you've never played a game made by them. It's a narrative-driven game in which you mostly choose the outcome of certain events happening in the game. You can change this outcome by picking dialogue options, going through quick-time events, picking routes, or simply by exploring the surroundings and finding hidden items. Even in the 2015 game Until Dawn, the game's main premise revolved around the butterfly effect. Even the smallest decision you make might have an effect on another event way later in the game, so you have to make your choices carefully and try not to fail in any of these quick-time events, because there usually is no way back, as the game has checkpoints after almost every crucial moment. They made sure to make you stick to a bad decision you make. However, there are some surprise new mechanics here and there to get you out of these sticky situations. I'm not gonna spoil them, find them out yourself, and I'm sure you are going to find them out. Aside from the regular gameplay, there is also a movie mode, which is pretty much self-explanatory. It plays itself without any interactivity and any choices whatsoever, and it shows you one of the conclusions to the story. It is pretty nice to go through it once, but you will most likely miss a lot of stuff, so make sure to play the actual game as well, as there are some difficulty options. You can make the game simpler and easier to go through as you please. Now, I don't really like comparing games to others when I make reviews, because I believe if you can't review something without comparing it to something else, you should not be allowed to review anything. You should be able to put your opinion forward without any comparisons. However, I feel like I have to break this rule and compare it to their previous games here because I'm sure it's gonna be important for you when you make your purchase. Compared to Until Dawn, for example, the Quarry feels more like a movie rather than a video game. It has less choices, less interactivity, less overall player interaction, let's say that. And even when you make seemingly important decisions or when you miss a seemingly important QuickTime event, you usually notice that it doesn't really change much. Whereas in Until Dawn, even the smallest mistake you make can and will probably have a drastic effect on the overall story. It could even kill one of the characters. That sort of thing doesn't really happen in the Quarry. In many occasions during my playthrough, I felt like some of the choices I made were meaningless as the character still did the other thing anyways. It was just a matter of which thing the character was going to do first, I guess. Obviously this didn't happen always, but it surely happened a lot, especially when compared to all of their previous games. Depending on what you're expecting from this game, this could be an issue for you. If you're expecting a narrative-driven video game with a lot of interaction, ability to change every single detail with your choices, the Quarry might be a bit disappointing for you. As I've said, while you still have many choices to make in the game, it is nowhere close to their previous games in that regard. On the other hand, if you're looking for a more structured, well-put story and you don't really care that much about changing every single detail and looking for a good interactive movie to go through, you're gonna like it. It also has a lot of replayability too. You can finish it in one way and later on you can revisit it and choose completely different routes. You can even play with a friend when they add multiplayer later on. In the Quarry, you're gonna notice that the levels are also usually pretty small as well. While you may transition from one small zone to the other, it usually just feels like a small room that you're exploring. You're going through every corner to find everything you can and move on to the next area. They don't really feel connected, and of course there aren't any puzzles in the game, so you usually don't have any reason to go back to a previous location. Plus the game doesn't really let you do that anyway. If you decide to explore a zone, just make sure that you're absolutely sure that you're done with it and then proceed to the next area, because the game never lets you go back and you will most likely miss stuff because of that. Still, going through these areas and collecting the optional items scattered around, you are able to learn more about the area, Hackett's Quarry, and some of the key characters. It just helps with the world building and makes you understand what you're up against a bit better. While exploring these locations, you will also see that Supermassive has done an excellent job in the visuals department. The game has jaw-dropping graphics, excellent environment design, ultra realistic, almost photorealistic characters, much better motion capture, and overall a very high quality product. Again, comparing it to their previous games, the Quarry clearly shows that Supermassive has learned from their past mistakes and fixed a lot of things. They improved upon the whole formula and almost perfected it even. You would remember the previous games having these extremely cheap jump scares, just completely draining the game out of any atmosphere or any meaningful immersion it tried to build. They were also average at best when it comes to dialogues. The characters always spoke in cringy ways, they had unrealistic reactions to the events, and they had pretty weird motion capture moments as well. The Quarry thankfully gets rid of almost all of these. While the dialogues still feel very cheesy in most parts, the overall tone is pretty realistic and characters usually react in the ways you would expect them to react. But I wish they wouldn't go what I call the Marvel way and gave the characters these forced joke moments. You're in a very bad situation, maybe losing a lot of blood, maybe lost a leg or something, and just imagine you making a joke and laughing about it instead of crying in anguish and pain. While I agree, momentarily shock can make you do these things, it felt like the characters had too many of these dialogues, and I started to roll my eyes when I heard more and more and more of these corny Avengers level jokes. I guess it's what Marvel and Disney in general did to entertainment these days. There's no running away from this corniness, so it is what it is. Speaking of dialogues, the actors actually really did a great job this time too. The game has a wide range of talented people in its cast, and they all do an amazing job playing their roles. The overall voice acting, their reactions, their small shenanigans, they were all great to listen to. Aside from that, the sound design in general was excellent. Whenever you are in the woods alone or in a cabin just exploring around, the sound design really sets the mood and absorbs you into the atmosphere, merged with gorgeous graphics. Funny enough, I unfortunately cannot say anything about the music because it's 2022 and everything is copyrighted under greedy billionaire companies, and because I streamed my playthrough, I couldn't enable any music. There's a streamer mode that seemingly replaces these licensed music tracks with royalty-free music, but apparently they also got copyrighted and demonetized some people's videos. So I didn't take any chances and just turned off the music for the whole playthrough. Unfortunately, I am unable to say anything about that. I'm sorry. Overall, I enjoyed the Quarry a lot. While I had enjoyed Until Dawn, I thought Man of Medan and The Little Hope were pretty mid, or I can even call them bad, to be honest. But with the House of Ashes, Supermassive showed that they know how to create horror and that they listen to feedback, because that game was beautiful, and as I always say, in my opinion, that is their best game. If you haven't played it, definitely give it a chance. The Quarry, on the other hand, is also very good, and it is easily their highest quality game yet. It's improved in all regards. Better visuals, sound, acting, dialogues, motion capture. It's just drastically better than what they did before. If you like their previous works regardless, you're gonna enjoy The Quarry, especially if you're a fan of Until Dawn. You're gonna see many similarities and like what you see in this game. It's a solid 9 to 10 hours experience with high replay value. I'm for sure going to go back to it in a few months just to try the other routes, or maybe to try it out with a friend when the multiplayer option eventually arrives. Hope this video helped you decide if you should give The Quarry a chance. Big thanks to 2K for providing me with a review key so I could prepare this. Thank you all for watching, and if you liked the video, please consider leaving a like. It helps a lot. If you are not subscribed yet, just check out my channel and consider subscribing as well. I plan on making more videos. Currently, I'm also preparing a review for Kuon, From Software's PlayStation 2 horror game. It should be out probably around next week. Again, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.